April the 12th, 13th, depends on your time zone. We have a cutting, ending, severing lunation. This is a moon in the sign of Libra, the sign of balance, the sign of relationships, the sign of being in harmony and peace, because this Libra energy is squaring Mars, hot headed in the sign of Cancer, and squaring Mars in a very importantly rare way. There's something about this moon that brings completion. Yes, all full moons bring endings and completions, fulfillments and fruitations of seeds planted on the new moon 6 months earlier. But there's also something about the intensity of the square from Mars in the sign of Cancer after Mars has been building up a head of steam there for months that makes me feel like what comes to an end in each of our lives, and also what we must cut, end, and sever in terms of world events that bring fractures and breakages, that we're breaking away not just from a person, a place, a situation, a relationship, but we're breaking away from a pattern or a way of being in those situations. And I'm going to talk about how this is also evolutionary and transformative, because after this lunation on the 12th, 13th, then Mars will move into the sign of Leo on the 18th and begin to oppose Pluto. And we'll be doing a separate video on that, but it is bringing to mind the idea of making a massive titanic undercurrent change in our lives, not just, oh, I'm going to quit that job. Oh, I'm going to quit that relationship. Oh, I'm going to quit that school that I go to. It's so much deeper than that. So I don't know what to call it in the title. I haven't decided on a title for the video, but I want to dive into in each of your charts, sun, moon, and rising. You can listen for all three. I'll explain that in a minute. I want to dive into the idea that what breaks away, what ends, what gets severed, like gangrene limbs, like dead wood on a tree, the thing that must go is absolutely important, because it's like changing a life pattern so that the thing that must go does not need to be redone again and again and again. Getting into that bad relationship pattern again, getting into that problematic job again. No, ending, cutting, severing, basta, enough. And it's also interesting to me when I consider that in this light, which I'm about to describe for each sign, which really feels true, that the new moon that began this new Libra moon, October the 2nd, which happens to be my mother's death day, by the way, which is very resonant for me. October the 2nd of 2024 wasn't just a new moon in Libra, but it was an eclipse, a solar eclipse in Libra, October 2nd of 2024. It already is portentous. It already has a reverb and boom that says destined, fated, change that can only happen every 18 years is upon you in the Libra part of your sky. And now this is the fulfillment of the eclipse. This is a promise. This is where it's headed to. This is what it's about. So we're going to talk about it for the world a little bit, your sign mostly. I put another video out on this moon a couple weeks back. I'm going to pin it to the comments. In that other moon video, I'm talking about other matters. I'm talking about the lunar shadows technique and what it might mean for the world, especially the politics, especially things to do with Gaza, Israel, and Trump, etc. And then I'm also talking in that video about your sign, but I'm focused a lot on the chironic wound in the sign of Aries, and I'm teasing out other elements in that story that I'm not bringing to the table here. This is where I'm really focused on that Mars square. And secondarily, I'm going to talk about the moon's home in your sky, the temple of the moon, and how that interacts in essence with what's happening in the sign of Libra. So we're going to look at it from two different angles that I didn't cover before. So welcome. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Lori Lothian. I am using the Western Tropical Zodiac. Of course, you guys know my gig, right? I love the whole sign house system. Once you go whole sign, you never go back. Also, I'm using fixed stars and minor asteroids as necessary. Today, I'm simplifying the story to simply the concept of the square from Mars, potent and powerful, coming off the eclipse energy of destined change from the new moon in October. So, and why this is so powerful for Mars is Mars has been in Cancer September, October, tiddled off to Leo, November, December, January, came back to Cancer, February, March, mid-April. His long 6-month duration, including the fall in the sign of Cancer, is something we haven't seen in the same way since September of 77 to June of 1978. And so there's something about the rarity to add to the eclipse that brings in exquisite pattern interrupt, change, and breakage of things that are no longer going to occur in your life and my life because we are ready to surrender and release it. That's my take on it. And don't forget, we're spinning stories off of that eclipse that was seeded in the fall on October 2nd. So this full moon can't be separated from that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you want to follow me in Substack, I talk controversial politics that are way outside the box and not completely not politically correct. It's the Pluto Chronicles over at Substack. I've decided can't demonetize me over there, can't deplatform me. If you want to get the real deal, including articles on mundane astrology, please join me. You can subscribe for free. And if you pay, you get lots more content, but you still get content for free. That's the Pluto Chronicles underneath below. And I also have my Patreon community where I teach 3 classes a month. We have gatherings, we have chat sections, we interact. I respond to your comments on videos that I post there. All the videos you get on YouTube come to my Patreon early access ad-free before you ever see them. So if you like to get videos with no ads before the rest of the public for $5 a month, that's a part of your tier. Come join me over on Patreon. I'd love to see you. I actually have a giveaway. Anytime someone joins my Patreon, you're going to get Chiron, the Key to Purpose, and timing cycles for Chiron. It's just always been a freebie, but I don't promote it. So come join me over there if you want to also get those 2 free courses. And what else do I have? My Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. I just had a giveaway contest this morning. This is April 10th that I'm recording. And I gave away free reading, and I gave away a free pass to my Sky Reader course, and I gave away my All Signs bundles, and I gave away 15 courses of self-study. I give away stuff when you're on my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, and there's a celebration, something I want to celebrate. This was my birthday celebration. I had 3 live giveaways where people came to the premiere, and if you knew the right code, secret code for my Cosmic Moonshine people, you won prizes. So if you want to be on my weekly subscription newsletter that I write and comes into your inbox every Sunday, I write it, not AI, then please join me over there as well. All right, so let's get talking about what I think I want to say here. This is not a long video because it is an update video and it's coming, really last minute for you guys, but I've been really thinking about this energy in the last week in my own life about how it's coming off that October 2nd eclipse and how that really has gravitas compared to a normal full moon in the sign of Libra, and how it is extra intense gravitas with Mars squaring it from the last degrees of Cancer in a way that gives Mars a lot of huff and puff. I kind of joke he's dog paddling through the Cancer pond furiously, but he's a patriot, he's a nationalist, he's protector of home and homeland. He's a soldier with a spirit of protection for the homeland. He's a fierce mother bear there, but he's also in a sign of his detriment. It's called his fall. And he's having to make do with lunar themes that make him uncomfortable, which is love, the mother love, the nurturant part of reality. And, Mars is, of course, the soldier. So there's a little bit of sometimes a conflict of energy between the moon and the role that Mars is playing in our charts. Now, Mars brings actions and decisions, right? And so one thing I can say, besides cutting, ending, severing, and completing something, he can give you the directionality, the action taking, and the decision-making power that you need that comes off the moon. And this moon, although it's happening on the 12th, 13th time zone dependent of April, it spins its tail out over the first month after the moon. You'll get an idea of what it's for, and then it continues to unfold a little further, rolls out like this, up to 6 months later when we have another new moon in Libra. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you the chart, and I want to say only one thing about the world. I don't really feel like a world politics day for me, but I'll tell you one thing. When I look at the politics of the Middle East, with Libra being the rising sign of the nation of Israel, we would say that the whole war began with the first eclipse, the total solar eclipse in October of 2023, South Node eclipse on the ascendant of Israel. Historically, every 18 years, they have wars of similar natures based on eclipses to their ascendant, and activating the house of what they consider open enemies. And interestingly enough, of course, you might remember or not remember that October 1st, which counts on an eclipse on the 2nd, it's all interconnected, that Iran launched 180 to 200 missiles against Israel in what it said was retaliation for the killing of a Hamas political leader, the leader of the Hezbollah, who was also a commander of the Revolutionary Guard Corps. Now, look, whatever you think about the situation there, there's no doubt about it. Given that there was a seed that was planted October 1st from the October 2nd eclipse, and this full moon is also on the ascendant of Israel and squaring Mars in the nation of Israel. Mars is up in Cancer. What is Cancer for the nation of Israel as a Libra rising? It's the house of the leadership, Netanyahu, the cabinet, the people in power making the decisions, the reputation of the country. And in that regard, there's going to be a story. So it's likely to also involve Iran again. It's likely to involve stories with enemies and war and reputation. Mars is fallen. He's highly emotional. He's overreactive. And you may see some really intense and very gut-wrenching, difficult stories coming close to the actual moon of the 12th, 13th, but it could be within 2 weeks before, after, and up to a couple of days before. I expect a rinse repeat of some sort of story there, escalation of some sort of story in the Middle East. I also think that if I look at Donald Trump, and I wonder what was going on in because, the scales of justice, right? Libra and legal matters, and justice for Donald Trump's Leo rising. The Libra sky is his third house of the media stories and etc. Well, there was also, of course, a Trump story. On October 2nd, 2024, a federal judge unsealed a redacted motion by the special counsel Jack Smith detailing evidence against former President Donald Trump. All right, without going into any detail, there was more news on Donald Trump in one of his many court cases, and there was this big unsealing, and some information that was not known came to light. So I guess we could say to any degree that Donald Trump gets himself in any kind of legal hot water again, or is connected to even that particular case, we may see a bookend happening coming off of this moon. So those are two things to be aware of: scales of justice and also scales of commerce and trade. Libra balances commerce, trade, and justice. So not just legal courts, but the weigh scale, when you want to, buy and sell, you need a weigh scale. So trade tariffs, trade stuff, the stock market plunging and bouncing back up where there are insider trades going on there. Did Trump tell people I'm going to do like a 3-day panic attack for the world and then I'm going to pull it back? So trade this and trade that. I don't know. But if he's going to get in trouble over that, that's where it's going to come from, or his people in his community, people in his power structures. So you'll see Trump in hot water, and you'll see Israel in another situation, in the Middle East. Now, in our own lives, we're not countries going to war, and we're not people with legal scandals. Most of us are not that. So instead, we're going to talk about how to use this in your own chart. I'm going to put the sky up. We're going to whip through. This is a follow-up video. It's fast. It's easy. It's pointed. And it's going to take me about an hour to complete this video. What I want you to take away from it is, in a destined and karmic way, this Libra moon is asking you what you need to complete by letting go, ending, and cutting something, situation, or person from your life. Is coming off of the eclipse of October the 2nd. And what it wants you to do is complete not just a situation, but a pattern of those situations, so that you do not get yourself into those types of situations, relationships, and places again, as well. Mars being so super powered after building up a head of steam in the sign of Cancer for the last 3.5, 4 months means that he is really powerful in that Pisces, in that Cancer pond where he's dog paddling furiously to make you decide and act to complete and end something so important in your life. Let's go ahead and do your sign. If you're hearing like some sound in the background, that's I walk across to work at home, right? That is my washing machine. So I apologize, but I have to get the laundry done. So I apologize. I hope it doesn't come through my mic. It's boom, 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 boom. All right, here we go. We're talking about the story for Aries first. I know I could start with Libra, but hey, what the hell? Now, obviously, if you're a cardinal sign, which is Libra, Aries, Capricorn, and Cancer, it's a cardinal lunation. So it's going to impact you greatly. It's going to spin the wheel of your destiny. So keep that in mind. And the moon is at 23 degrees when it's full. It's not showing completely full in this picture. Don't worry about it. Just trust me. It's going to be a 23-degree lunation. And we're just going to keep it simple and easy. I don't want to get it complicated, because when I spin the wheel, the moon will move forward. So trust me, it's at 23. I talk about the Sabian symbol and everything about it. I think it's a harvest moon, but whatever it is, I talk all about it in the Sabian symbol in the actual other video that you can go watch, which talks about the Chironic wound and other factors I'm not drawing in today, including Jupiter's role. So Aries, I want to say really succinctly, you're looking across at the house of marriage, right? This is where you have long-term committed unions and partnerships. And with eclipses that began to activate that part of your chart in 2023, starting in April, the axis of self and other was highly activated. You had a new moon over there, and it happened on October 2nd. If you have a daytimer scheduler or any archival records, what happened around the eclipse of October 2nd? When it comes to your long-term and committed and long-term unions, the ones that you are bound to stick in, like a marriage. You got vows of commitment, vows of monogamy. You also may consider this to be about the audience in the marketplace and the public, right? The people that are 10th from your 10th house, and therefore you interact with them. And so you were looking at changes that you're trying to make here, 23, 24, and now this full moon is the last energy off of the eclipse of October of last year. You might want to say, for me, example, I'm cutting out seeing one-on-one clients. I've been doing that for like 7 years, and I think it's time for me to move towards writing and more teaching. And so that's a decision I was pondering very specifically last October during that eclipse and in the aftermath of it. So that's an example, but you may also be looking at that one-on-one relationship Libra balance, and it might be out of balance, and there might be something that you're recognizing that needs to change here. But it wouldn't just be a change of relationship. Oh, I'm going to quit my marriage, or this long-term relationship needs to end. It's about really cutting, ending, and severing a challenge in your relationship patterns. And that's because Mars in the 4th house is telling us it's the patterns from your childhood. It's how you saw mom and dad interact. It's what you learned about the archetype of commitment and marriage from growing up in your life. And so because there's a cutting Martian energy in the 4th house, this is the signal that you're fulfilling changes in your relationship to relationship. And you're going to cut the roots of problems that come from being a child and absorbing the story of love and relationship from your mom, your dad, your ancestral patterns of your family of origin. If the family line always divorced you, you have to do it too. If they stuck together through thick and thin, no matter how bad it was, do you have to do it too? You're going to be able to choose differently. Mars is the god of decisions and choices and actions because you have cleared that systemic family system story. Now, one thing I like about this Mars at the bottom of the sky in a practical note is he's cutting and severing the home as well. And it may be very literal that there's an opportunity for a change of home that comes off of this moon, but it's coming off of changes of home that happen in October. For example, in October, my landlord increased my rent. Now, my landlord gave me notice on this moon energy that she's selling the house. So literally it's about my home changing. But is it just about the home changing? It's also about my relationship to how I feel at home wherever I live changing. And Libra means legal contract, and Mars squares the moon in the house of legal contracts. And I have an end of a legal contract about a rental property that I'm in. So do you see how literal the sky can be? One other thing I want to say, Mars is very much a expat in the 4th house. He's like, I'm going to go live in like Siberia. I'm going to be a digital nomad. I'm going to move to another country. And there's a change maybe here. This moon wants to propel you towards of considering moving your home to a distant, far off land and shore. Just think about the possibility. It's because of his relationship to the planets in your 12th house. Finally, the moon is the ruler in the chart of the 4th house, right? And so as this moon is being impacted as it comes off of that eclipse and fulfills something, it can fulfill a destined change of home. It's not just about relationship. Wish you the very best, Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Oh, I should have said at the beginning, your sun sign is your soul and your purpose and career. Your moon is your home and your relationship to your emotions. And, the rising sign is everything about you. Try all 3, see how it feels. Ah, oh no, it doth spin without me. Yikes. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm talking about what this moon is doing for you. Sun, career, moon, home matters, rising sign, anything in your life that you want to be a pattern interrupt and break away, cut and sever. Something to do with your balance in your work life. because Libra scales of balance are in the house of work and health matters. The way you're out of balance sometimes with the intensity of your work, or how much dedication or push you have going on there, how much you may not have a balance to your health matters and health needs. Those scales are never easy to balance. And a full moon is trying to show you what you must do here, because it wants to fulfill a seed of attempted balance that was planted last October on the eclipse. Now, this can eclipse you out of a job. It can eclipse you out of a rental property. It can eclipse you out of a situation of difficulty with your health as you get ready. You planted the eclipsing seed last fall on October 2nd, and now you're ready to fulfill it. And one thing about this is that when we talk about breaking karmic patterns, we're talking the sixth house, not just patterns that are just, oh, I got a bad habit of going into work or job situations that I don't like. No, these are patterns that are karmic, including karmic debts to others and debts, literally the debts you owe. The credit card balance, the mortgages, the bank loans, other people's money and indebtedness is here. And you're breaking and cutting through debt karmic patterns as well, not just though you may eliminate a debt or fulfill or exit or complete a debt, pay down the card, pay off the house, pay down the mortgage, all that is possible. It's deeper than just the literal debt. This moon wants you to look more deeply at your relationship to debt as well, and expenses across the way in the 12th house, and how you can break patterns around your expenses and your expenditures and your debts. And that's a good one to break. Mars is cutting, severing, and ending from the 3rd house. Now, of course, the moon's temple is where Mars is. And so the moon is also going to try to pivot some of this energy into the 3rd house. And there's maybe a suggestion, therefore, that you might be making significant changes in how you communicate and speak and talk and write regarding work situations. Bosses, colleagues and coworker situations. Now, Mars has got fighting spirit and he's hot-headed, or he's in hot water. So there may be some really spicy communications going on in the wake of this lunation around situations in the workplace. You might even be ready to say, I quit. And that will be maybe a karmic interruption of sticking with jobs or debt situations or work situations that aren't right for you. Mars also loves to travel, and he could indicate a new freedom, a new opportunity connected to a job in another country or in another part of your own country or in another town. There can be some changes of neighborhood connected to work opportunities that are fulfilling themselves off this moon. But more importantly, think about like breaking a pattern. Mars wants to break a pattern. And if you have any kind of patterns that go back to how you operated in elementary and high school that may be impeding your relationship to your financial debts or your relationship to your work and health situations, you might be laughing, but sometimes we pick up bad habits in high school that we just continue to do. Maybe you overspent in high school and you always expected to somehow it was all going to work out. Mom and dad would help you out. I don't know, especially mom. We're in the sign of the mother, so you're looking to really rectify those patterns as well. Finally, I think with Mars in the 3rd house, which represents your aunts, uncles, cousins, but also siblings, and in detailed way, a sibling one younger than you, you may have a major change of direction in that relationship coming off this moon, where there's major decisions being made around that relationship that with those siblings, but usually a younger sibling. And so keep your eye on that ball. It could be something like that. Seriously, though, Mars is loving up that 11th house, and he does want to bring you greater joy and activate your desires to bring financial fulfillment, especially in career. So any changes you make to your current job, any changes you make to where you live, like you might want to change your whole neighborhood, new town, new city, ultimately will be very powerful and very positive for you. So keep that in mind as well. After all, Mars is having a beautiful relationship to the nodes of fate. So destined changes of neighborhood can be very much a story in the sky. Well, no, now I'm having my hunger attack. We'll do 2 more signs and then I'll take a bagel break. Are you thinking, Gemini, that you're lucky, oh so darn lucky? Because you are. You got Jupiter still with you till June the 9th in your sign, though you might have gained some weight, felt heavy and a bit sort of inflated sometimes. How big is your belly? How big are your muscles? This transit will end in June, but I want to remind you, you've got divine protection from Jupiter. So continue forward in all matters, knowing that you are in his orbit of care. Now, that said, there is a moon. It does remind you of a new seed you may have planted on the eclipse of October 2nd, new moon eclipse in Libra. And that is a general shift, a new beginning and direction that wants to be fulfilled in your fifth house. The relationship to sexuality, romantic love, the relationship you have in a balanced, I hope, way to your own children, the relationship you have to your creative and artistic projects, especially Libra, library, Libra book. This is a great placement for authors. And in some way, it looks to me like what you're doing here is you knew in October something was going to have to change in a destined way in your relationship to the patterns of your life, with your muse, with your entrepreneurial creative projects, with your relationship to sexuality and romantic love, with your relationship to your children. And this is not a minor thing because it's coming off an eclipse and it's fueled by that Mars who's been for so long traveling through the watery place of Cancer. By fracturing or breaking away or changing something in your relationship to the fifth house stories that I just itemized, you are going to find major changes in your self-worth, self-esteem, your values, and your finances. It is by what you let go of that you succeed, not by what you add. It's what you cut away that brings greater prosperity to your life. So remind yourself of that. The moon is the ruler of that second house, and she's full, and she's waiting for this Mars push, shove. When push comes to shove, right? To make those changes. Now, come on. The fifth house is entrepreneurial, but it's also the artist, the creative, the muse. It's your natural intelligence. It's the gifts you were born with. And Mars might be saying, use those talents, use those gifts. Listen to that muse. Push is coming to shove. Is important. And you may have been thinking about these things in October, but you weren't quite, the seed was planted, the eclipse was germinating the change, and now you're ready for the change. Oh, I have a progressed sun in Gemini. Sun is career, moon is home, rising sign is your everything in your life. So I can relate to some of this on the back burnered book that I need to write. Yes, for the agent who's waiting for my book proposal for astrology. Because why? Because I'm too busy with my clients. I'm too busy with my classes. I'm too busy with my YouTube. But now I'm getting this push comes to shove. And something's got to give. And it's going to be seeing my clients, right? Because I have more joy writing than I do seeing clients at this point in my 7 years of seeing clients. Thousands and thousands of you. Now, I love that Mars is flowing to the 10th house. Again, it's an Artha house. It's the same narrative I'm trying to tell you by tuning into the changes, completions, and endings that need to happen in that sex, romance, love, children. Like, don't be like, for me, it's like, don't be an overfunctioner. Don't always have to save and rescue my daughter or something like that. It's like pulling away from those patterns, cutting and ending the patterns of imbalance there. It's going to massively increase your success in your career and your finances. So it's a good thing to think about the cutting, having positive endings at the end of the day. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is like pattern interrupt, fracture, break, and end something, and then move forward with great confidence when it comes to the lack of balance in your home life. And sometimes like a full moon is coming off of that eclipse that happened back in the day. There was an eclipse back in October 2nd in Libra, and now there's a full moon here, taking cue from that eclipse. Perhaps it's not just your home life, lack of balance in the home life, something's out of balance here, but maybe it's also a lack of balance connected to your childhood and the stories of your childhood and your relationship in particular to the mother, and how those storylines are still kind of like a teeter-totter wobbling you back and forth. Because the midnight hour where the moon is shining, which is where the moon's very happy, the fourth house is like your midnight hour, is really your gestational and resting place. And are you at rest and true peace in your home? And how has your childhood informed the feeling that your home is a place of surrender, peace, and deep rest? And maybe you don't feel that, and maybe it's time to change it. Doesn't mean you have to change your home. You could. A lot of you since 2023, with eclipses going through, shearing through the fourth house, have already made changes in your home, with whom you live or where you live. It's all been under renovation. Yeah. Now, you don't have to move with these eclipses. Again, it's not just your home. You could change your relationship to your mother, your childhood, and your home. And Mars is squaring from your first house. He's like you're cutting and severing and ending those patterns. You could cut away from your home. You could cut someone out of your home. Someone may be leaving your home and you're already feeling the cutting happening. There's things like that going on here. But it's really about you taking the water pistol, because you're in a pond, and grabbing it and spraying down the problem so that you can make the changes that you need to make and be firm and forward and know what you want. Because when it comes to your home, you are the one with the decision making and action taking Martian power and the severing, cutting, snipping power as well. With the energy of the stellium that Mars is loving up as he's sitting here on this moon in your ninth house, a lot of you might decide to change your home to a foreign country. Some of you cancers may want to change your home because you want to pursue some education. It requires a change of home. Some of you may want to change your home because you want to follow a deeper path of truth and meaning in your life, and you know you can't do it without changing your home. Those are stories that could happen here. Some of you might change your home because of a connection to a sibling too older than you, and some of you may want to change your home because you realize you're looking for a spiritual community and you're not getting it where you live, and you want to move into a place where you feel that communion with others of like mind. So that's what I've got for you. Let me know how it goes. I am going to take a break for food, and I'll continue with the next 8 signs. If there's any chance that you have been unsubscribed, can you guys check? Because I'm in my every third month scrub from YouTube of the bots. And I don't know why they're doing that, because I know you guys tell me, no, I didn't unsubscribe. And I'm a real person. I've been with your channel for 5 years and I was unsubscribed by YouTube. So I'm having a lot of you tell me that. Just double check. Let's go ahead and continue. So check that you're subscribed. If you think you're unsubscribed, you probably are. So what can I do about it? Nothing. I can just I was on my phone last night trying to get to 109,000 subscribers. That's 100,009. And I watched myself go from 98, right? I need to get to, yeah. So I was 2 away from 109,000. And then I watched it go doom, doom, doom. And I watched literally 10, 12, 13 people just supposedly unsub, right? And I know that all of a sudden 13 people are unsubbing in 4 minutes, right? That's what YouTube does over here. And they won't stop doing it. I have to ask them to do that. No, it's just automatic. All right, guys. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign, Cancer, sun, career, moon, home, Cancer, rising, anything about your life. Let's go through this quickly. We're talking about your sign, about cutting, severing a karmic pattern, ending something that is ready to be left forever in the Libra part of your sky. Oh, I already did, you guys. I apologize. Moving on to the next sign. Oh my God. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Karmic patterns, pattern interrupts. Listen for your sun, your career, your moon, your home, rising sign, any part of your life is activated. And the moon is in the 3rd house. And this is where you have friends, neighbors, travel, teaching, learning and teaching opportunities, things to do with your childhood friends from high school and university, or those parts of your life if you're high school and elementary school, education, and even things to do with your social media sphere, social media, stuff like that. And of course, everything you do on the daily, go to the gym, do that, the places you go to in your neighborhood, and short distance travel. All right. Now, go back to October 2nd. You had an eclipse here. And indeed, eclipses were happening since 2023 into 24 in your 3rd house, letting go, releasing, surrendering the neighborhood. Time to move out of your neighborhood, or release a relationship to a sibling or cousin or aunt or uncle. They belong to the 3rd. Release a connection to social media channels, or surrender and release or let go of your attachment to them anyway. So, or maybe it's a friendship that you made many years ago and it's no longer gelling for you. You don't really fit with that friend, so it's falling away. Now, these things have been happening. These eclipses have been happening all through 24 and 25, but it's the October 2nd eclipse that's the most important, because that eclipse is now being fulfilled in a full moon that is sitting in your 3rd house and squaring Mars. And Mars is the push and shove, you into some actions and decisions that you need to make about those 3rd house matters. But he's in your 12th house. Now, he's been in this place since January. He's very, very, very intense now. He's been heating up in the dog paddling pond with his water pistol. And there's something that you must change. But because it's the 12th house, it's unconscious for you. It's not like you know what it is. You can't put your finger on it. You're like, what am I supposed to change here? Because it's your unconscious mind and it's peripheral to your own vision of yourself, you can't see it. You'll get evidence of it in dreams, maybe sort of meditations. You might kind of get a sense of it, almost like a tickle in the back of your head, a tip of your tongue moment, that there's something you're supposed to dramatically change. Now, look, Mars is the ruler of the fourth house of childhood and the house of the mother. And so maybe there's a code for your childhood relationship to your family growing up, to your home, to your environment in your home, or even to your mother herself, that is also underpinning what must change here. And it may lead to, by clearing this out in the time of this moon and up to, a month after and 6 months after, it may lead to a change of location for where you live. If you wanted to change your town, your neighborhood, it would not be really necessarily a very far away move, but it certainly could be a domestic move in your own country. And there may be a relocation that this moon wants to push you into. And because there is this Martian square, there's going to be a point in which a decision or action is either foisted upon you or becomes absolutely obvious that you need to make that change. Now, you won't know right away. You're going to be waiting for, on the will of heaven, so over the next 6 months after the moon, but a change of where you live or the neighborhood or the neighbor relationships, it definitely could show up. And some of this may be connected to a sibling one younger than you as well for some reason. And changes of where you live are connected to things going on in the life of that one younger sibling. That's another option. And you might have to go to battle eventually with your significant other, if you have one, about changing the home, because Mars is about to enter into your first house and have a fight with Pluto in the house of marriage. Those kinds of things look also very possible. One thing I'd say is that with Mars in such a beautiful flow to the Venus, Saturn, North Node, Mercury storyline, which is just beautiful in the 8th house, any kind of breaking of the family ancestral patterns, mother relationship, wounds from your childhood that allow you to make a change of home and neighborhood, that's going to allow for greater financial wealth in your life. And it could be coming from a sale of a property. It could be coming from anything, but you're lushing up your unearned income as a result of these changes. And, maybe you'll move to a place that's more affordable. Your expenses are less high. If you're not moving, you're going to make some changes like decisions to finally study that course you've always wanted to study so that you could use it professionally. Choices and actions you must take, to rectify difficult relationships with your neighbors and aunts and cousins and uncles and siblings, and make some clearing energies in that part of your life. So let me know how it goes. This is your moon for the Libra moon on the 12th, 13th of the month. Depends on your time zone. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I got to talk to you because you are one of my many Virgos in my life. Sorry, that's my Virgo daughter, literally, Virgo rising daughter, literally messaging me. Just message me in the middle of this, So you are going to see that you have to find balance and harmony in your money stories, because this is the scales of justice. You're born with this all of your life. You're either going to work too hard for your money, which is typical anyway of you guys, or you're going to have a lack of balance. Like you'll have a full bank account, an empty bank account, a full bank account. Your savings are going to go like this, like a teeter-totter, right? All of your life, you're flush or you're not flush. And your relationship to work is also never going to be perfectly balanced. You're working too much, you're not working at all. And you're going to find that this full moon is asking you to break a pattern, not just say quit the job, which you could do, but to break the pattern around the kind of situations you have found yourself in with financial matters connected to work. And when I look at this moon and I wonder, okay, what could it do for you? I think about Mars squaring in a way that's really rare. And I think about that eclipse October 2nd. So on October 2nd, there was an eclipse that really wanted to change that relationship to the work and the money and the balance. But yet, here it is, the fulfillment, the full moon off the new moon of October 24. Now things have to change. And Mars is saying, we're going to do this change, whether you like it or not, because we're going to cut and or sever a source of income from your career. So you get fired, you get laid off, the company closes down, or we're going to cut or sever some kind of relationship to a friend, ally, benefactor, or elder sibling that may have been about financial support, for example, or we're going to cut and sever a goal, a dream, or something you've been holding on to that you think is going to take you in the right direction. And now you realize you're done with it. That dream, the dream is dead. The goal is dead. It doesn't hold any water for you anymore. You realize it's finito. You've been dog paddling with that old dream for 4 months. And back in September, October, you're dog paddling that old dream and goal for your life as well. And now you're going to say, okay, it needs to go. It's not working anymore. It's not my values anymore. Moon is in the house of your values. You need to balance your values. What do you truly value about being alive, about making money, about having resources, about your family? Moon in the second house is also connected to your family of origin as well, using Indian astrology. So some of the values around worth and self-worth and values around money come off of that family system. And the moon is reminding you of that, especially. Now, moon here is also the ruler of the house that Mars is sitting in. And so there's something to do about, are you sure about those friends? Do those friends share your values? Is that the social group that you want to stick with? At least one major friend might fracture or cut and end this relationship with you, or you with them, as a result of this moon, but it would have been a long time coming. You wouldn't thinking about this for 4 months. With friends with the expression, with friends like that who needs enemies, you'll have that feeling that this was an enemy disguised as a friend. So some of you are getting ready to, but when you let go of that friend, it's not that friend, it's the pattern of friends like that. Patterns of friends like that, probably friends you can't speak your truth to. The house of speech is the moon. Friends you can't voice your truth with. Okay. Now, so that's going to go the way of the dinosaur, that type of friendship, not just that one friend. And I love the way Mars is flowing to the stellium in the 7th house, reminding you that he does experience a lot of support for you here, that he says, well, even as I'm fighting with that moon, I still say good things are happening in your marriage or long-term committed love stories. Good things are happening when it comes to your outreach to an audience or public from career path matters. So you do have some sweet stuff going on in the sky that are happening at the same time as this moon. But remember, it's a pattern interrupt and it's a breaking and a fracturing of an old situation. Certainly with Mars moving into the opposition to Pluto after the 18th of April, we'll be doing a video on that. That's also going to help you break old patterns, especially around debts and money issues as well. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. Let's get back. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, you have to find balance in your life. You need to find the teeter-totter kind of evening out. And it's hard for you guys. The balance in love, the balance in work and life. These are things that Libras are always striving for. Yes, you like harmony, you like peace, you like fairness and justice. Okay. But you also don't always find this balance in your own life. And you tend to either be all about the other person in marriage. You're like, it's all about them and how can I help? Or you forget about them and it's all about you. It's back and forth like a yo-yo. Now, look, this is going to impact your relationship to relationship. This is literally like there were south node eclipses going through your sign through 23 and 24. The last eclipse, October 2nd, behind us, says it's time to change the way you experience your relationship to the marketplace, the audience, the clients, the business partners, and primarily the relationship part of your chart, the significant love relationship. They are committed like a marriage. You're not just changing the relationship, you're changing your relationship to relationship. Keep that in mind, because this is a very rare event to have Mars in such a profound cut, end, and sever from the 10th house. Now, that's the house of the father. And any impact your dad has made on you in this lifetime by being a role model or a bad role model or giving you bad advice around relationship or how you saw him do relationship may have fueled the way you do relationship. And now Mars is going to cut, end, and sever that. Mars can literally cut, end, and sever a particular place of employment. I hear you. What does your job have to do with anything to do with your relationship to relationship? Well, it does. It does, because the moon in your sign is how do you feel at home in yourself? How do you actually feel comfortable, at ease, and at rest in your own life? That's what it means. And then Mars is at the top of the sky going, well, your reputation, your social standing, what other people see you doing, what they think about you, your public image. And Mars is cutting. Sure, you can quit a job. and you might, and a job might quit you. The deeper lesson is that you don't care what people think of you. If you take this and you use this the way it looks like it's trying to happen, you don't care what people think of you that you're getting a divorce. You don't care what people think of you that you're walking out of your job. You don't care what people think of you that because you're happy at home in yourself. Mars exalts your fourth house. You don't care what people think about you that you're going to change your job and change your home and change your relationship. So a lot of change could happen off of this moon. Okay. Mars is definitely in a beautiful flow to and you, by the way, go back, right? January, February, March, mid-April, and go back to September, October. Were you ready to quit a job? Were you working too hard? Did you have a lack of work-life balance going on? But was there also stress during those months in your significant relationship where at some points you were ready to quit or, call it quits? So there's a bit of that. Am I going to call it quits? Now, if you don't call it quits, okay, and I'm not saying you need to, because maybe a karmic pattern interrupted you. Always your family, everybody quits. No one stays together. Maybe your pattern interrupt from your dad's side of the family is to stay and to stick it out and to make it work rather than quit or give up. So there is a pattern breakage. I don't know if you're going to make an effort to stick or unstick from a relationship. But if you have a relationship, that's what's going on. And that includes a relationship to business partners or super significant people in your life that take up a lot of space in your life. All right. Okay, so we move on now to the flowing Mars to the sixth house. One thing this is good for on the back end of the whole story is it's really good for job. If you want to get a new job off of this moon, a new direction in your work out of this new moon, because you're feeling comfortable at home in yourself, this can open up vistas of new opportunities for you in the works part of the sky. And it just looks like a yes. Okay, it looks like a big yes. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have a situation here with a moon that's coming off of the eclipse of October 2nd. The new moon eclipse becomes the full moon in your 12th house. The 12th house is coming into a sort of subconscious, a peripheral, deep soul work place where you're not really conscious of what goes on back there. I always call the 12th house like there's a room under the floor with a carpet and a footstool on top, right? The trap door under the house is like, it's hidden from your view, right? You're not easily able to connect with it unless you meditate, get hypnosis, unless you are good at dream recall. Sometimes that 12th house is just like, what you don't know about yourself will undo you, right? Self-undoing addictions are here. So now you've got a full light on the place where you undo yourself. Are you drinking too much beer? Are you smoking too much weed? Are you drinking too much wine? What's going on here? Are you watching too much Netflix? I mean, how is your downtime and solitude working for you as well? Lack of balance, lack of time alone to restore, to rest, to work on creative projects. These are things you can do in the 12th house, and the balance that needs to be had. Now, pattern interrupts of karmic patterns. Mars, the Lord of your sign, the one who takes care of you, is in your 9th house, and he is squaring that moon. So he wants you to make executive changes, decisions, and cut and end something in your life that doesn't serve you because it's off purpose. It's meaningless. It feels like you're not aligned with the reason you're born. That's the Dharma house. And Mars is up there saying lots of things. He could be wanting you to go back to school or re-educate or go to, study a new major, change your major so you're aligned with your purpose. He may want you to fight for something that you believe in that's meaningful, a noble cause for the greater good. He might want you to go to battle for a legal matter to do with law and justice in courts. There's stuff he wants you to do, but he wants you to get to it already. Because he's squaring the moon in the 12th, you might be a bit blindsided here because you won't be able to see it coming. But if you go back to October 2nd, a seed was planted, and it could be a legal problem or a passport or a visa problem. Like my Scorpio rising son had his passport stolen in the fall, and he's still waiting to get this thing renewed. And there's all these hoops he had to jump through, but he could be blindsided by another angle on it. That's just a very mundane example. I want you to think about how you're going to break a pattern of like choose for what's deeply meaningful and on purpose for you in life. That's the test. Can you do that? Mars is asking you to think about that. In the meantime, the 9th house can also be a house of fathers and father figures and authority figures who are like a father. It's a natural house of the son's joy, for example. So if you have any kind of bad blood or difficulty with a father or authority figure, this is going to be a major change in that relationship. Unfortunately, it could also mean that father figure could be in a hospital as well. Now, the moon is a ruler of what Mars is up to, right? So she's telling him what to do. She's got she's got some skin in the game here. But with Jupiter in your 8th house, some of you may encounter a father figure. I just have to be your dad, your granddad, your great uncle, and some issues going on. Maybe their health, but also things that have to do with you breaking a pattern in that kind of relationship. And I love Mars is trining the house of good fortune. And even as he is in poor dignity, he's loving up an exalted Venus. So enduring meaning comes from your creativity, your entrepreneurial instincts, your artistry, by being a parent, being a grandparent. These are places where the meaning can be for you at this time. Learning and education. A good chunk of you are going to go off of this lunation and get back to me in 6 months. And you're going to say, I enrolled in some kind of school, because you want to follow your natural talents and gifts and abilities, and you want to learn so you can be on purpose. That's good for a lot of you. Let me know what happens. I'd love to hear. All right. So then we have you Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. With this moon coming into a fullness on the 12th and 13th and taking cue from the October 2nd eclipse last fall, there is a part of your chart that's begging you to look at your long range goals and dreams. Eclipses started here in 2023, essentially asking you, are you dreaming the true dream? Is this what you really desire? 11th house is a house of desire. It's also a relational house. And so what do you truly desire in life? What are your long range goals? What are your long range dreams? What is worth your aspiration and your time? If you had a fairy godfather, what would you truly ask for? Because that's what you're truly trying to figure out here. And there's a lot of that part of the chart where you were trying to go deeper spiritually. You may have noticed in 23, 24, timing away from your friends and more time inspired by your own creative pursuits or things that really mattered to you, that inspired you and brought you true joy. And some of you may have become a lot less social with groups of belonging and friendship circles and stuff like that, with the South Node eclipse going through, that part of your sky 23, 24. But now you're looking for the spark of true joy. And now you're looking for changes in the social groups and circles that align with you in a deeper, meaningful way. And Mars is squaring from the 8th house. Now, the 8th house is a deeply occult house. It's also connected to mysteries like, supernatural and paranormal and astrology and tarot. But it's also the place where there's two things I think about for you guys. One is the esteem of others. Maybe you don't give a flying F what people think about you anymore, and that you're going to try to bust through that. I don't care what my friends think about me anymore. I'm going to do my own thing. But also the 8th house could look like there's something hidden from your view, something you haven't seen, like a family secret or a family pattern, because Mars is trining a stellium in the house of the family of origin. And you might have a spiritual breakthrough, moksha liberation of a disidentifying from your ego and your family of origin are happening in this kind of sky. And some of you might come alive as you wake up to the true you. They go, oh my God, my parents always said to me, nah, but that's not who I really am. Or I've assumed I had to be the dutiful son or the dutiful daughter. And now I realize, no, my duty is to myself. I mean, things like this will occur in this kind of chart. Some of you may want to cut away and move to another country. Mars is like potentially able to do that in this kind of sky. And North Node Rahu also would say the same thing. So Mars could be saying, I'm giving you a turning point, pattern interrupt, breakage. You're not only not connected to your family the same way you used to be, but you're not even going to live in the same country. It's time to break away. So these kinds of energies for some of you, Sagittarius, is really happening here. Now, it's also about changing your relationship to your family of origin, to your mother especially, but also to your father if needed. So how you relate to them, whether they're alive or dead, doesn't matter. It's how you relate to the patterns they created that you become as you were raised. That's cutting out of this story as well. There's a lot of spiritual depth in this particular moon for you if you're willing to accept the assignment. Okay. So that's what I got for you. Hey, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. If you go back to October 2nd, they had an eclipse in Libra, and now we have a full moon here. There's something that wants to be ending forever, not just like, temporarily, in the thing called work, public reputation, career, ambition, achievement, and purpose. 10th house, what people witness you doing in the high noon, public eye, how you're seen by others, doing something in life. But South Node has been challenging you there all of 23 and 24 to let go of the old identity roles of what other people have always seen you being and doing. And now you're ready to release that completely with this full moon completing the eclipse cycle, but looking as always for that balance that Libra strives to find. Where can you be in balance? This is, again, people who are Capricorns. I've seen it over and over. I have a few Caps in my life. You're working hard and you're at the top of your career game, and then you're not working at all. Okay. And I can tell you some stories, man. It's so rinse repeat for Capricorns. So finding this balance between achievement and striving and career and purpose, when it's been a little bit like an on and off switch for some of you, or up and down like a yo-yo. It's a mistake to think that Capricorns are always climbing to the top of a mountain, because the Libra 10th house tells us the mountain keeps tipping back and forth, so yes, we're climbing to the top, but now we're in the valley. Now, like, we're like this, okay, you're like that. So now you got to find this balance point. Full moon is completion, and Mars is squaring from the 7th. So number one, you may need to complete a pattern of your reputation and career connected to significant business and love partnerships. Maybe you're known as the guy who's always X or the girl who's always Y, but it's also maybe connected to the kinds of relationship you have in your long-term committed love stories as well. Maybe you've been hooking up with women or men who look for a go-getter or a provider or somebody really on their A game in their career. And maybe that's a pattern interrupt to break away and be, no, I'm not that person, or whatever, something going on. The father is the 10th house, traditional Hellenistic, and the moon, which is the mother in the house of the father, is complicated. But it's to say something like you're shining a spotlight on how your relationship with father and father figures informs your childhood, informs your life, and all the decisions you make about your life. And you've got the sun traveling through the 4th house, which is a difficult circumstance. Believe it or not, the sun in the midnight hour is burning it up. So you're finding you can't get enough sleep. You're not sleeping well. You're sleeping ill at ease. There's too much light in the dark house of the 4th. And so you're already going through every year. The sun moves through Aries. Every year you have to feel like there's too much light in the night. You're not getting enough sleep. You're tossing and turning. You feel burnt up in the home. So you flipped the script here on this one, right? You've got the father in the house of the mother and vice versa. So in essence, you're really looking at the idea of being parented and what that taught you about your life, particularly what it taught you about love relationship, because Mars is squaring from the 7th house. And I see a big fracture for some of you in patterns in long-term committed love, achievement, and career. Both of those things are trying to readjust off of this energy. If you go back to October 2nd, you might have been like pondering, considering in the wake of that eclipse in the month or two that followed, some changes of home, changes in relationship status, and changes of a career ambition. These things were in play somehow. You may have had some specific moment if you go back to October, maybe a conversation, maybe a thought, but you might have had it. And you realize when you look back at it, wait, that's an old pattern. What was I doing or thinking? Because right now, and think about conversations with significant others, with business partners, with a client that's really important to you, that now you can see the pattern is unfolding before your very eyes. With Mars cutting and severing energy in your 7th house, some of you Capricorns are very tenuous in a relationship. You might want to go back to September, October, and then January through to it'll be the 18th of April. Mars has got scissors and he's cutting. Now, your partner may be separated from you physically. You're traveling, you're not together, but also it could look like fights. Also, it could look like cuts and endings. Particularly the partner may want to sever or end, but either way, there can be massive changes in your significant relationship. Does it have to be the relationship ends? Not necessarily. I mean, it could be Mars is trining the whole stellium of planets in the North Node. There may be a change in the relationship connected to travel, connected to domicile and place of residence. These things are here. But I will say, if you're the one that sticks with a relationship when it doesn't work, then it's time to break away. If you're the one that breaks away when the going gets tough, it's time to stick in. You're wanting to cut through an old pattern and change it forever. And this kind of eclipse cycle that can help you with that, well, if it does even, it won't be back for 18 years, because you're looking at the eclipses behind us in Libra. And we're also looking at this rare 1977 to 78 Mars energy. So again, it's a perfect storm, probably once in a lifetime, to forfeit and end the paths of relationship to your career, to your worth, like in the eyes of the world, and to your significant relationships that you weren't even aware were running a script through you. So that's what I got. Let's see how it goes. Tell me, in the comments afterwards, if you come back to this video, let me know what happened. All right, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am one of you. Yes, where I have a rising sign in Aquarius. First of all, I will say that you have a full moon, trying to seek balance, but shining a big light in the ninth house. And you had a seed planting on an eclipse on October 2nd, also here. Now, the eclipse may be pointing you towards a destined direction in October to do with the ninth house. Now, the ninth house has to do with destined change connected to book publishing, to do with foreign travel and lands, to do with higher education, but importantly, to do with your dharma. And also, this is the house of third marriages. The seventh house is a categoric first marriages, second house, second, third house, ninth. Now, I'm using a technique that's not the marry your cousin, marry your brother, marry, wife dies, marry the brother kind of thing. No. We're using a derived houses tool. It does work. We're not using one of the other methods. People always ask me that. So, a destined situation regarding third long-term committed love relationships is coming to a critical turning point. For example, court and legal matters coming to a critical turning point. These are ninth house meanings. Now, you're looking for some balance and structure because the teeter-totter of Libra, the scales keep tipping in this situation for sure. And if you're looking for I want to be in a meaningful life, to follow my true north, to find dharmic alignment, then this is a moon that keeps trying to show you that. But because this moon is also squaring Mars, Mars is like, okay, when push comes to shove, I'm telling you, you got to quit this job, or you got to quit this part of the job. I always say it's just me quitting my clients. I know it's less one-on-one work, if any at all. That's what it is. I can record 2 videos a day if I'm not seeing clients. I see 1 client a day or 2, and then I have no energy left. I mean, I put all my heart and soul into my readings, and it's literally, as an autistic spectrum disordered person, draining. So you could cut away and sever something that is not just a job or a situation in a job, but rather a pattern in a job. So if your pattern is to give your all the time, no matter what, at the expense of your enjoyment of life or something, then that pattern can break. You could get fired for sure, but I mean, if you don't get fired, you could choose to quit, leave, or cut, or end something connected to the work. Mars is in the house of his joy, and he's been in your 6th house all of January through to mid-April, and he was there in September, October. I remember September, October, I busted my ass teaching Sky Reader, but I also at the same time, my Patreon community, I was still seeing clients, and I had way too much on my plate, and I almost burned out. So you know where your patterns are. You may not be me, but you could see evidence for the pattern that Mars is pointing to September, October, also since January till now, and you're ready for it to end so you can find balance. The moon is telling Mars what to do. That's the moon's temple. And he is in a readiness for ending something. You could end anything to do with patterns of food style with ease and grace as Mars trines Venus, Saturn North Node in the house of what you stick in your mouth. And yay, you, this is perfect for letting go of food styles or substance ingestions or whatever that you just know don't work for you anymore. Funny enough, I've been thinking of going pescatarian. It's a long story. Me, a vegetarian who eats fish. I never thought I'd ever say that because I can't eat legumes. So I'm very limited in a vegetarian style, but I'll explain it another time. I might keep wild fowl in there though, like birds. I love duck. Now, the other thing with Mars here is that Mars is saying, I'm good to go in the house of my joy to fire up passion for work that gets you into 9th house success stories, book publishing, international exposure, teaching like a professor, etc. And I'm willing to do that for you. And I'm willing to also promise you, if you quit the things, it's not what you add, it's what you let go of in the work that no longer bring you joy, because he's in the house of his joy in the sixth house. If you quit the things that bring you joy, I will increase your financial wellness. Now you go, I can't possibly quit, my job. I've got a pension. I don't know. I'm not your financial advisor, but the thing you quit increases your wealth according to the sky. Your financial wellness is better served by what you let go of, not what you add on. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Don't forget, general bell curve astrology. You had a lunation called an eclipse on October 2nd, and we all did, in Libra. It is your chunky money house. In fact, you had eclipses here 23 and 24. This is a place where you've been churning some soil in terms of money from inheritances. My Pisces sister got an inheritance from her spouse. Like they together inherited money from his dad. It's exactly what it said it could happen. And so you could have got a chunk of money from inheritance, or your spouse made more money, or you got some kind of stipend or grant, or you made money because of an investment, or you got some money because of a royalty income or ad income. This kind of derivative shared resources, it's like, and I love another word. I just saw, I like Penny Thornton. I don't do Placidus, and it disturbs me, but she has this really sweet channel. Maybe I'll have her on my channel. And she does mundane astrology too. And she was like, she was qualifying the eighth house as a receivership. And I like that because we receive the money from another person, right? Whereas the second house money and savings and earnings, it's really just like how you accrue the money you need to survive. But, the receiving from others, that's very qualitatively eighth house because you share those resources. So I find that the balance point is harder for you guys. You could have no money, a ton of debt, no shared resources. That's, and the scales are tipped over, right? Nothing's balanced there. It's all or nothing. You're flush with money from others, the inheritance, the stock that wins at the betting game, the money from your spouse is flowing, and then bang, it's not. You tell me, is that true? I love to hear in the comments, because wherever you see the Libra part of the chart, you know that you strive to find balance, and it's very hard, and it goes teeter-totter like. And so here we have a full moon, which is a big light. It's completion, it's fulfillment. It's showing you what the eclipse was trying to point at in October. So where were you? What was going on back in October, November after that eclipse? Maybe or late September even, around money you share with other people, your spouse, the bank, the credit card holding debt, it's the mortgage, it's all of that stuff. And with Mars moving into your house of debts, he wants to eliminate your debts. And this is a very good opportunity for you guys to be able to cut away and eliminate a debt. But before he does that, he wants to change a pattern around it. He's in the house of children, and he's squaring the moon, the mama energy, in the eighth house of all these kinds of monies. Here's some thoughts I have. Are you like a child with your money? You have innocence, wonder, and awe, but you're not really on it. Do you spend on pleasures and things that bring you satisfaction willy-nilly, but you don't really know how to rein it in? I say that because Mars, of course, is in detriment in the fifth house of what brings us pleasure. And he's been here January till now, and he'll be back here again. And he was here in September, October. So it's a rare long stay here. And because he's squaring a moon in the house of the kind of money we accumulate, like at the end of the day, your eighth house money's become like, that retirement fund, the money that you got somewhere in making money in bonds or investments, the money that you got for later, the money you sharehold and stuff. Well, there's something that wants to change, some pattern interrupt, some breakage. Do you always give money to your children? Mars tells you, look, you got a pattern here. Have you noticed that, your kids need money and you give it to them, but what about you? That's another thing if you have children. Do you always spend money on your relationship partner, your romantic partner, at the expense of yourself? Have you done that in the past? Is it time to break that pattern so you can be more resourceful financially going forward for the rest of your life? Do you let yourself down because you don't follow through on something that you wanted to do to start your own entrepreneurial business or get those creative projects to be fruitful? Now you're going to break the pattern on that sort of thing. Mars is loving up you. He's flowing backwards and sending beautiful kisses to Venus and Saturn and the North Node, all in your sign of Pisces. Why you love this is you're receiving good vibes from his back tail end as he's sort of trailing waves of pick your favorite flower, right? The fragrance of Mars coming back at you is lovely. And He's trying his best to be supportive in a water trine to the fulfillment of your sun, your Pisces sun, your career, Pisces moon, your home and home life, and your Pisces rising, anything you wish to strive for. And so because he's trying to trail back and he's looking at you from his rear end, like he's looking back at you, he's like, I got this. Like, trust me. Cut away the overfunctioning for your children. Cut away the lack of follow through on your creative or artistic creations. Cut away the way you have spent money on friends or love partners and romantic partners, or on pleasures that don't actually go the distance for what you really want in life. So you're going to change some money stories off of this moon. And it looks to me like you're going to do it because Mars is actually saying, if you do it, here's where you go. You have more money, but you also have more joy, and you'll have more fun, and you have more romantic love, and you have more alliance and ease with your children. By the way, sometimes it's called idiot compassion. Just because your kids need money doesn't mean you need to be the one who gives it to them. And by doing so, you may rob them of an important life lesson. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't come into a critical turning point here in which one of your children is in trouble. I'm not talking about the kid in kindergarten. Obviously, you're not going to give them money. An adult child may have a problem, teenager, adult, and they're going to need your help, and it's going to be financial off of this moon, and you're going to be asked, what do I want to do? And if you go back to October, some of these things may have been in play. Now, if you don't have kids, don't worry. I told you, lovers, romantic partners, creative projects, something's got to give. Push is coming to shove. Is it time to finish that book? Time to work on that project? It's time to start your own business. This is where you're really being challenged to find the true balance here, because it will benefit your finances if you do the thing you're being asked to do. Okay? Break the pattern. Go for the new. Try something different. That's what I got for you. I hope this is useful. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for the notification bell, so you know when I put a video out. I've been watching people like literally being dropped from my channel. Like I'm looking at my phone and I see 10 people like just disappear all at once. And there's no new video I put out for people to like just drop away. So you're probably being unsubbed by YouTube. And then every March, June, September, and December, they say a bot scrub, but they're supposedly eliminating fake accounts. But really, I always hear from you guys that it was your account that was eliminated. Check to see if you're still subscribed. Thank you very much. Hopefully this is enjoyable. I'm going to try to whip this baby out on Friday, the 11th. I'm recording on the 10th. I just realized I needed to share what I was thinking about with you guys, even though, yes, go check the other video out as well. I covered different elements.